please.
Hi, my name's Jeff, and I'm refinishing my cabinets, and I'm doing that in a different video series. But right now what I'm going to talk about is how to remove granite countertops. And you might wonder, well, why don't you just hit them with a hammer? Well, I want to salvage these and be able to reuse them. So there's a couple of things that we're going to have to do to make that happen. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to take your razor knife and you want to break this bead of caulk up here between the backsplash and the wall. Be careful not to run wild out here and score your drywall. I want to avoid ruining that. Might have to make a couple of passes at it to get it down in there. All right, once you think you've got it, there's a couple of things you can try. You can pound a wooden type shim down there, or maybe even a plastic one. I'm going to try a plastic one that I broke off a section of before, and I'm just going to try to wedge it down in here to start prying this off slowly, because I've already done this on another countertop, and they used a construction adhesive to stick it to the wall. So we're going to definitely damage the drywall behind there, but hopefully not too bad. There we go. Let's wedge that out a little bit so I don't have to get my fingers in there. See here, I didn't cut this bead going down, so that was a mistake on my part. So remember that when you try to do yours. That's all repairable though. Now what I want to do is I want to take another wedge and I want to shove it back in here. Let me grab another one of these. Alright, we're getting close. Let me get another one. There we go. Looks like that's broke away now. Very good. And you see the construction adhesive they put on there. And we did cause a little bit of damage to the drywall, but that's okay. That's all going to be covered up in the future. And that's totally repairable with some drywall mud. Very good. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. In an earlier part of the video, I told you that I wanted to salvage these countertops, but I want to explain how we're going to do that and how this particular countertop is put together. Typically what they put on the cabinets is what's known as a subtop. That subtop is a sheet of plywood that is screwed down to the cabinet base. On top of that, they put some blobs of glue, in my case, and then they put the granite onto the subtop. Now, I want to remove this. I want to salvage it. I don't want to destroy it. Typically, what you would do to remove that would be to break this up with a hammer, remove the pieces, find the screws in the subtop, and back those screws out in order to replace the subtop, and then start the process all over of putting in a new countertop. So since I want to salvage it and I don't want to break it up, I've got to find those screws. That's really, really tricky. There's a couple of things you can do to try to find those screws. You can use a magnetic device to help you locate a screw. It needs to be pretty powerful because it's really hard to identify a screw going through wood with this little device. The other method is you can take this scraper and you can bring it from the inside of the cabinet between the subtop and the face frame and slide it along, if there's enough room, until you impact a screw. Once you think you've found a screw, mark it with a good marker, and then you're going to use a multi-tool and you're going to plunge cut from the inside of the cabinet between the subtop and the face frame to cut that screw. Now, I'm going to recommend that you use a carbide blade. I've tried this before with just metal cutting blades and they wear out far too quickly. So let's start by finding a screw. So follow me down here, and you can take this magnet and run it along and watch this little indicator kind of straighten out when we found a screw. See there, right there, as it wobbles? So we've got a screw right in this area, and see, it's not a very good indication. It's very subtle. So now that we found a screw, take the marker, and we want to mark the underside here where you're not going to see it after we refinish the cabinets. All right, I'm going to take the multi-tool here. We're going to come from the inside, right between the subtop and the face frame. Now, you can hear it when it impacted the screw. It made a lot of noise, and you see the smoke coming out. Don't panic. It's also going to do a little bit of damage up here to the very top of the face frame. No big deal, you're not going to see that. You can lightly sand that, and then once it's finished, it'll just disappear. Alright, I figured now would be a time to give you a tip to help you find the screws. This is a really tedious process. So once you released or cut through the screws in like a corner section, take a shim and ram that shim in between the subtop and the face frame, as I've done here. What that does is it lifts everything up in this corner. It also relieves the pressure on between the subtop and the cabinet frame enough that you can take your scraper and put that through this gap right here, and then you hear that? I hit a screw right there. So at this point what I want to do is I want to mark it if I need to, or just take the multi-tool and cut that screw. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, I made it through the screw. Now what I want to do is I want to push the shim a little bit further in to help lift up the countertop along the length here. We'll put that back in that gap and run this along until we hit another screw. Well, it looks like we may have hit one right there. So I'll continue this process until I get all the screws released, and then we'll get this countertop out of here without breaking it. Alright, it took a while, but I got probably 7 or 8 screws cut along the perimeter of the base, holding the subtop to the base cabinet, and now it's time to remove it. I've got some wedges down here to make it a little bit easier. As you can see, you just lift it up and slide it off. Now, you'll want to get someone to help you with this process because these slabs weigh several hundred pounds, and I've got a helper on the far end. You may wonder, why would we want to salvage these? You could use these for anything from a backyard project to selling these to somebody that wants a countertop for whatever reason. It's a much better way to go than to just break them up. Thank you. That concludes this series of how to remove a granite countertop without destroying it. Certainly if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message and I'll do my best to answer your question. Below you'll find some links of some of the products I used to do this job. Thank you very much for watching.